Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to underestimate David Haye. David Haye has fast hands, great speed. He knocked a lot of guys out. He was cruiserweight champion. And I want to give to David Haye, as a fighter, in a certain way, a lot of respect. And I will get to in the preparation, get myself ready, and it's going to be tough, and I think very interesting fight for the fans all around the world. And you, David, I wish best of luck in the preparation. And it's going to be another press conference in the fight week in London, in Hamburg. We'll see each other again. And I'm so glad that you're going to go first in the ring, that they can make sure David Haye's in the ring so I can walk in. So when you show up in the ring, then I will really believe in this fight. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thanks, Vladimir. Let's open it up to the floor.
Well, gentlemen, I would remind you, we are actually live and have been carrying this live on Sky Sports News. I would ask you to mind your language as best you can. I do apologise for anyone offended by some of Vladimir's comments. But David, does Wladimir sound any different from the way he usually does?
No, he sounds just like Borat as usual. No different.
You said this might be your last fight. Are you saying that because if you lose it, you're going to quit?
No, I'm saying just in case I break my hand on his face, I'll be out and that'll miss my deadline of October. If I break my hand in this fight, then potentially that'll be my last fight, because after knocking him out, I'm not going to box past my 31st birthday. So potentially. Yeah, that's a little going through my mind.
Wladimir, how confident would you sense David was yesterday? One or two people thought he had a few nerves when he came to the
The man is very confident, and I think that he has these images of Corey Sanders' fight, and especially a Brewster fight. And I think that he's very well motivated. He put himself in a certain way in the corner. You know, there's a lot of pressure, but he can handle it. And as I said, as I promised before, if you need any psychological advice or support, my brother can take care of business with that stuff, and he's gonna do it for free. So you don't need to get paid a lot of money to him. And I definitely won't underestimate David Haye. You know, it's all funny and jokes here and there, but it's a serious business. It's you can play basketball, you can play rugby, soccer, but you cannot play boxing. So there's no play, there's no game. You can say a lot, you can promise a lot, but in the ring, that's the real world. That's the real world that David Haye gonna face, and the real heavyweight. So he's gonna fight the best man in the heavyweight division, and I think that he knows it, and I think he will accordingly prepare for this fight.
I mean, you're both champions. Obviously, you have more belts than he does, and yet your name is first on the poster. You will walk in second, be announced second. You're having home advantage here. Have you shown David a lack of respect by perhaps not sharing some of those privileges here? After all, you are both champions, and this is a unification fight.
Well, we had different options to fight in different countries. So we end up in Hamburg Arena. And I'm very happy about that. So it wasn't at the beginning planned this way, but we got such a great deal that no one could give us, and that's why we end up in Hamburg. And as I said, just by accident, of course, and I live in Hamburg, so it's my hometown in Hamburg, Germany, or in Germany. And I'm from the Ukraine. I'm Ukrainian, and but I have, of course, a lot of friends that live in that city. All of them are going to be there, and I'm very happy about this. This matter of fact, I've been fighting in Hamburg a couple of times before. Never fought at the soccer stadium in Hamburg, so it's going to be an experience for me and also for David Haye, because as I promised to you, David, you will really, however, you will really enjoy the atmosphere, because stadium is something very spiritual and very, very special. If you think about soccer games, then you realize how many people are there, and the field is pretty big. So the field of boxing ring is, if you call it the field, so the mat of boxing is very, very, very small. But we got good responses in the first day on ticket sales, and I think we're going to pack this arena full. It's going to be great spirit and, of course, enjoyable for me to fight in my hometown, Hamburg.
Adam, is that the way negotiations were? Was this just a big deal, or did you sense the Haye camp wanted to have the advantage in all these areas?
The Haye camp? No.
Sorry, the Klitshcko camp.
Yeah, they asked for them. They wanted them.
Were they all deal breakers?
Not from our side, but I've had a few times it's been said, agree to this or the fight's off. It happened a few times. I just gave Bern some water because he said if I've got no water, the fight's off. So, you know, there's a few concessions to make, but David made them, the fight's on, so all that's history now. It's now time to get ready for something very, very special.
If Wladimir needs to come to the ring second, as he says, to make sure that I'm in the ring, ideally I'd like him to come to the ring first, to know he's there, because obviously he pulled out his last 2 fights with an injury, so he says that about me, but you've got to turn that mirror on himself. If he needs to come to the ring second, if he needs to go in a certain corner, if he needs this, as I said to Adam asked me, so, you know, that was thinking, I thought it would be fair, so we're both champions, to flip a coin and say, okay, who goes to the corner? Okay, you're in the red, you're in the blue. I thought that would be a fair thing to do as we're both champions, but apparently not from their side. They wanted these things. I said, Adam, if they want it, if he wants to walk to the ring second in his last fight, good luck to him. You know, it's going to be the last time he walks to the ring as a champion, so I know it's not going to be the last time I do, so if he wants to do that, it wasn't a big deal for me. You know, I know as long as I'm in the ring, as long as he's in the ring, I win the fight. How we get into the ring, you know, you could have a helicopter and in for work here. It's irrelevant, you know. So the fight's happening, that's the only thing that matters. All these other little facts are just academic and mean nothing in the big scheme of things.
Bert, if I could finally ask you, how would you characterise negotiations between yourself and Adam, and what discussions have you had about the referee and the judges for this?
I mean, the negotiations were obviously pretty tough. They started 2.5 years ago, and here we are, finally. And honestly, I think since Adam and myself were more or less with our inner circle involved in things, it was easier than in the beginning when other promoters were involved. So I think in the end everything is fine also from their side, and I think if you compare these belts here, also by quantity, I think it's obviously that we were asking for Wladimir come in or walk in last. But by the way, the compromises he is introduced first. That is always how these things are worked out. And I think it's fair and square, and that's it. I mean, hometown advantage was never something we wanted from the beginning on. When we started our negotiations more than 2.5 years ago, we all wanted to go to Chelsea, Stamford Bridge. Wladimir knows Abramovich. We were invited by Abramovich. We wanted to go there. That was originally the first plan. But then the other side could not deliver. And then we ended up in Gelsenkirchen at that time, in the Schalke Arena. And now we're in Hamburg again. But we were also together trying to find other arenas, other venues, other countries. But in the end, it was just the best business case, and Adam and myself both agreed to it. And that is, I think, the result.
Any other questions?
But can I ask what the turning point was in the negotiations?
Pardon?
What was the turning point in the negotiations that actually made it happen in the end? When was the turning point?
I mean, that the fight is now happening was more or less the reason that Wladimir was injured and could not go through with the Chisora fight. Otherwise, I mean, without the injury, we would have had a fight in April and then maybe later a fight with David. Now the fight is earlier because of that injury.
So you think the fight would always have happened anyway?
Yeah, I'm sure that the fight would always have happened.
With, excuse me, with 3 different organisations' titles on the line, which one of you is going to pick the officials for the fight? Is it going to be the WBO, IBF, or the WBA?
I think, honestly, that is something we all have to agree to.
Yeah, but I mean, you haven't agreed to anything yet.
No, but I mean, we all have to be happy with the officials. The only thing I think we all want and expect are absolutely neutral officials.
Somebody's going to have to choose them.
It's we've agreed to allow the governing bodies collectively to agree. Once all the governing bodies who are sanctioning this fight agree amongst themselves, that's our principle, because we're represented and represented by WBA and Vladimir by the IVO.
I'm asking who's going to choose them.
So the governing bodies will agree on the officials between them, and we've already agreed to allow them to make that.
Right, with those three big bodies, then you might get the fight on in about 12 months.
A bit sceptical.
Why isn't the fight in Britain, Adam, from your perspective?
The only reason why it's not in Britain is because Vladimir wants to have his German doctor in the corner with him, and that is something the British Boxing Board of Control wouldn't allow to happen. The British Boxing Board of Control insists and legislate that they have their own doctors there. And that was the deal breaker. And that's why Chelsea didn't happen, and that's why the fight's not in the UK this time.
But also to finish that, there is an English ring doctor in David's corner, because the German boxing board allowed that. He has to have a license of the British Board of Boxing, and will then be licensed by the German Board of Boxing. But it was not possible vice versa.
David, when we did some interviews, you told me every time when you're watching one of the Klitschkos in a fight, it's tyranny. I'll make you sure that you don't fall asleep in round number.
I'll make it exciting. As you said, yeah, watching the Klitschko's fight, you know, I really recommend if any of you are struggling with sleep, like insomnia or whatever, watch a couple of Klitschko fights, because you will end up nodding off. But this is going to be one of the few fights that is going to have, that is actually going to be exciting. If you look at any of the fights that have been exciting, and he's created very few of them, it's when he's been knocked out. And that's exactly what's going to happen again, so you pretty much guarantee it's going to be exciting.
I hope it's going to be more exciting than all the Harrison fight.
I think it's going to be more exciting than Sultan Ibragimov. Orderly Harrison was 3 rounds, bit of a snooze fest for 2, then I knocked him out in the 3rd, as predicted. Your fight with Sultan Ibragimov in 12 rounds, with about exactly the same amount of action, so there you go.
Wladimir, why do you want your own German doctor in the corner? Why was it a problem to have an English doctor for a fight in this country?
To be honest with you, Bernd Bonting was the doctor, so I'm a fighter in the ring, so I don't care about that. But Bernd is my manager, and he negotiates things, and you know, you have to, as a fighter, divide certain things which you're doing. I'm a fighter, and I care about the fight, but nothing else.
I said everything. I mean, we want neutral on every side, and in this case, we had. I mean, some of you were there. We had our experience in Los Angeles in the Lewis fight. You can always discuss, was it okay, was it not okay? But anyway, we want to make sure that someone objectively watches it. I mean, all these doctors have a license, and they are doctors. Yeah? And we only want that a doctor checks, knock on wood, nothing happens in the fight on both sides, that it is fair and square, and that's it.
Dave, is there a small part of you that respects anything that Vladimir has done in his career?
You've got to respect his consistency for boredom and being boring. Very few people can be consistently boring like he is, so you've got to respect that. Personality and in the ring.
David, the odds are 7-4 in favor of Wladimir. In case the bookmakers are right, are you ending your career?
No, the bookmakers once again going against me on this one. They've done it before when I fought Mormek and when I fought Valuev. They went against me, and you saw the results there. You know, the odds makers look at his prior record and look at mine, and they feel that he's got an edge over me in size and experience. If that's what you want to go with him. Put your money on Vladimir. If you want to win, put your money on me, because this isn't going the distance, no way. You know, and if it does, it's only because I choose it, because I choose for it to go the distance. I can outbox him, I can outfight him, middle range, long range. He thinks he can out-jab me, he doesn't realise I can out-jab you. You think you've got a great jab, I can out-jab you, and you'll see it on the night.
I'm accidentally a champion, I'm sorry.
Yeah, accidentally,
I'm accidentally
going to the wrong fight.
You're right, you're the greatest.
I am. As long as you recognise that, then...
By the way, we were talking about before in the question with, the bets in the booking stores. Raise your hand, who gonna bet on David Haye wins the fight, please? Okay, the David Haye's team, okay.
All winners, that's what I like to see. Laugh all the way to the bank, boys.
But you got a team that believes in you. That's great. No, it's supportive. It's awesome. So the others, I think, it's accordingly to Klitschko. It's a lot of pressure actually on me. You know, I will take care of business. But thank you for your support also.
Wladimir, you mentioned your respect for Haye's speed. How will you deal with the speed inside the ring?
Well, I've been handling it. I'm kind of slow and clumsy and boring, and somehow I'm knocking the people out. And I don't know, it's all kind of accidentally, I think. But it's consistently. So we'll deal with that. I'm probably going to take for speed Nikolai Valev that was beaten by Evander Holyfield, that is already 48 years old, and by Chagayev. And I think Valev going to give me great speed for Haye. Anyway, I'm going to handle it. So I'm going to get to the training camp and prepare myself.
David, Wladimir says you're going to go 12 rounds. What are your predictions?
Just want to ask you, thank you.
My prediction is, I don't want to say exact prediction because the odds are lose the odds and the
Where do you put our money, basically?
I'll send the text out with the exact prediction.
Please tell the prediction.
I don't want to say it yet.
No, you predicted on the Harrison fight. Come on, do it now.
3. I'm not. It depends. It depends. You know, I get a feeling for as it gets closer to the fight, as how my training goes, how my sparring goes, how the time is feeling physically. I'm a long way out from the fight yet. So as I start to hone in, I can see, okay, I might hold him up for 5 or 6 rounds. I might take him out early. Depends. You know. As I said, I've got to wait, see what the odds are closer to the fight. Not that I'll ever bet on myself. I would never do that, just making that clear. But it's just for you guys.
I'm gonna give you $1 euro. I mean, British pound.
Going by my
a British pound. No, I'll give you 1. You deserve more. I'll give you 1. Yeah, you gotta get 50% of my purse. Anyway, so I'll give you $1. Pound. I'm sorry. I'll give you £1.
What are you talking about, man?
That you will get knocked out in the 12th round at the end.
£1.
Here's the deal.
Whatever that means. You kind of
heard that.
decrypt that. I'm sure you had a point somewhere there.
Anything else? Okay, thank you very much. The finals will close head to head. Should be interesting.